Hey guys, welcome to Simply Do It, the channel that brings you tips and tricks of dough. In this video, I'll show you my ultimate pizza dough recipe. I have experienced a lot to finally come to this recipe, and this one works every time, so I'm confidently sharing it with you. I'll also be making pizza napolitana with this dough, so stay tuned. Sift the flour with the salt. You know, yeast dough doesn't like salt, so we'll mix it with the flour to somehow camouflage it. For this amount of flour, I added only 3 grams of dry yeast, mixed it with 325 milliliters of water. I have here room temperature water, not very cold and not very warm either. Of course, I will leave the exact amount of ingredients in the description box below. Just mix the yeast with the water and that's it. You could just go ahead and add the entire water into the flour and start making the dough. I just have a habit of adding the water gradually. Now is the time I told you about flour, guys. This is a pizza flour. It appears that pizza has a special flour which is either marked with 00 on the packing or it simply says pizza flour. I have tried making pizza with different flour, all-purpose, the bread flour, but none of it worked this good. So if you want to save yourself frustration and get that nice and crusty pizza, then go for pizza flour. I like to work with it with the lower part of my palms, but of course it's not of crucial importance. You can of course knead it the way you know. I also like to apply stretching movements because this shows me how elastic my dough is. You may find the dough a bit sticky in the beginning, but do not add flour and do not stuff the dough. This is a proven recipe. I have tried it so many times and it works every single time. But if you, just like me, like to work with clean hands, then you can use just a little flour to clean your hands. But this dough is very cooperative from the very beginning and it quickly comes together. By the way, I have to admit one thing. I don't like using gloves with the dough. I need to feel it. I wanted to make this pizza for somewhat later, but my dough came up in 1.5 hours. Only 3 grams of dry yeast and half a kilo of flour, just to keep you in the loop. I've also tried this recipe with 5 grams of yeast, then it's ready in 30 minutes. This recipe is going to make you 3 large or 4 medium pizzas. This is my workout and therapy at the same time. Let's have a closer look at the dough. It took me about 5 minutes to knead this dough this smooth and elastic. As I had said earlier, the dough is very cooperative and it quickly comes together. Next, we are going to cover it with a damp cloth and leave it to proof. Just make sure that it's not drafty where you're leaving the dough. You can also proof it in the fridge, as long as your container or zip bag is airtight. My dough has come into action within 1.5 hours, but I'd recommend you to follow the instructions on the packing. And look at this dough, isn't it gorgeous? As I had said earlier, this recipe is going to make you either 4 medium or 3 large pizzas. We love this pizza very much, so we are all going to have 8 pizza per person. I'm gonna go for 4. Make balls and they're immediately ready to work with. You don't need to proof them any further. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm ready to roll my pizza base. I dust my working surface with semolina, but it's not an absolute must. You can use flour. Have you noticed semolina with real pizza? That's what we're gonna go for. We'll make it look like a clay oven pizza as much as we can. Real Italian pizza has minimum toppings. The 3 must-haves are, of course, tomato base, Parmesan cheese, and drizzle of olive oil. We do not need any tools to roll this dough. Now, I'm not a pizza dough professional as yet. I cannot roll a pizza dough in the air just like the Italians do, but I stretch it on the table and it somehow works. We are going to be working with the center of this dough. We are going to stretch it to 3-5 millimeters thick. We are going to be leaving the edges, of course. The edges are going to be a bit thicker. That's about it. We are ready to start collecting our pizza, ladies and gentlemen. Now we have two options here. We can start collecting the pizza right here on the table, or you can immediately place it on the cooking tray and you can start collecting it there. We start with the tomato base. I'm using unsalted tomato pulp paste. Of course, homemade tomato base with a bit of onion and a little bit of garlic would be great, but I use what I have. Just a tablespoon is good. Some Parmesan cheese and a drizzle of olive oil. My anchovies are in an olive oil, so I'm going to be using just that. And I'm also using some olives and mushrooms with the pizza. Then I add some mozzarella bufala. To make it look like an ultimate pizza, I'm going to decorate it with basil leaves now. But I personally prefer adding basil after the pizza is done. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be doing both before and after. Napolitana is my absolute favorite, although I used to find it a bit salty in the beginning, but I think I'm so used to it now, I like it so very much. As a matter of fact, I prefer it to other pizzas. By the way, what's your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Pizza loves high heats, 250, 300 Celsius, easy. Mine is going to preheat it to 250 Celsius oven for 15 minutes because this is the highest my oven can do. But if you can do higher than that, 270, 300 degrees Celsius, go ahead and use that. Moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen, our crunchy and crusty pizza is ready. Just have a look at this. As I had mentioned earlier, I'm going to be decorating it with fresh basil leaves because you cannot see the basil leaves which I added earlier, and some mozzarella bufala just because we like it. To tease you a bit further, I'm going to be cutting the pizza into slices and I will show you the crust and of course, I'll give it a bite. This pizza is so good, I got watery mouth while editing this video. As a matter of fact, I remember once I think I had to bake this pizza 2 weeks back to back because we like it so very much. I cannot tell you enough how much we're in love with this pizza crust, guys. I am so glad to have found this recipe and I'm not going to be trying any other. And that's the pizza from me, guys. I hope you liked the video as much as I enjoyed making it. Do subscribe for more recipes like this and let's simply do it. I thank you for watching and I see you in my next videos. Bye.